If you find it hard to relax because you don't have all the answers and you don't have things all figured out in your own life, then you may have an addiction to problem solving. An addiction to problem solving stems from a control issue, a fear of losing control, a fear of not knowing, being out of control, powerless. However, this addiction is one that can never be resolved through figuring out things, right? Because once you figure out one thing, you know what happens? There's something else to figure out. It's a never ending puzzle of trying to solve problems, answer questions that pop up in your head, try to figure out what's the next step. How do I get to this next level in my life? How do I solve this relationship issue? What do I need to be doing? Always thinking that there's something that needs to be done right then and there, something that needs to be solved or resolved right then and there. So, how do we get out of this loop, this endless loop of like trying to solve problems and trying to answer questions? The first step is to become aware. Become aware that you are in this cycle of overthinking, obsessing, trying to fix something in your life that you're just not making progress. Observe the feelings in your body. Observe if you are feeling tense, stress, if you're having digestive issues, pains. What is that trying to tell you about your emotional and mental state? It's speaking to you. Truth be told, a lot of people are not aware that the more you are trying to solve problems, you're trying to intellectualize things, you're actually in a state of avoidance. That may not make a lot of sense because you're like, well, how am I trying to avoid a problem if I'm actually trying to figure out the problem? It's not the problem you're trying to avoid, it is the emotions behind the problem, right? If you did not care about a certain situation, if it wasn't causing you distress, then you would not be trying to resolve it. So, what we need to reflect on are the feelings that are arising within us that are creating this distress, that are creating this drive and this obsession to solve the problem. Usually, it's some type of fear or some type of lack. We have to look within and say, okay, I'm trying to figure out what's happening in my life because this certain issue is making me feel unstable, insecure, making me feel abandoned, rejected, right? So I need to figure out how to solve that. Instead of turning within and saying, okay, let me sit with these emotions first. And usually, once you sit with the emotions, you may find that the actual problem itself is one that works itself out, or maybe it is not something that you need to be as actively seeking a solution for. Obsessive problem solving and an addiction to that also comes from a lack of trust, whether that be a lack of trust within yourself or some type of higher power or the universe, or if you believe in any of those things, there is a lack of trust in knowing that you will be taken care of or you will be able to solve things as they come up. Again, this is a type of control issue where you want to try to prevent things from hurting you or things going wrong. So you are always in the state of fight or flight, survival mode, trying to get ahead of issues from happening. Again, this stems from avoidance. You're trying to avoid being in the present moment. You're always trying to be ahead or search for clues in the past, things you might have missed. And so it is very important now that you're aware, if you are obsessively trying to figure things out or control things, then you need to be more present. And instead of dealing with the mental aspect of it and trying to solve things in your head, start to work through those emotions and be aware of what emotions are coming up in your body and sit in those.